not going to be able to do it. Let's imagine now that somebody breaks their leg. Not quite as happy as a prince, a princess and a dragon, but still an interesting place to go to in a mental health video. Anyway, so imagine that someone breaks their leg. And what happens is they go along to their doctor and they say to their doctor, "Doctor, look at my leg. It's like this. And I don't think that it should be like that. I am pretty sure it should be something else and it should be in a straight line like it normally is, but now it's a little bit squinty." And what the doctor says is, "Right, okay, no problem. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this plaster cast. We're going to get it nice and straight. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give you some painkillers and then off you go. And let's see how it goes. What I want you to do is I want you to keep all of the weight off that leg. I don't want any damage to happen to it at all." So the person leaves and they follow their medical advice because, of course, that's what you would do. So they go out there and they take their painkillers religiously. They have their big plaster cast on their leg and there they sit and they tape all the weight off it. And then what happens is they go back to their doctor after, let's say, 4 or 5 weeks. And the doctor says, "Excellent. Now, let me just see what it feels like when you stand on that leg. Can we just remind you, that person has kept all weight off since they injured it 4 or 5 weeks ago." What happens is the person stands on their leg and they're like, "Oh, doctor, it's really sore. It's very, very painful when I put any weight on it at all. So what should I do?" And the doctor goes, "Well, do you know what we're going to do? Is we're going to give you a stronger plaster cast and stronger painkillers. Here you go. Take even stronger painkillers." And what happens is you go away and they go, "Oh, and remember, just as you leave the office, keep all the weight off that leg. Don't put any weight on it now. We'll see you again in another 4 weeks." So you go out for another 4 weeks. You've injured your leg. It's now 8 weeks since you put any weight on your leg. You're taking your painkillers. You feel fantastic. You're like, wee! You've just spent a whole week on tramadol. Just like 4 weeks, just completely away with the fairies, to the point where now it doesn't really have any effect on you, but you think that's totally normal. Meanwhile, outside, everybody's looking, going, "Whoa, who's this person?" And what happens is you go back to the doctor. They say, "Okay, I want you to put the weight on your leg," and you put the weight on the leg and you go like that. "No, it's really sore now. It's almost like it feels as if it's weakening, and it's just that I don't know what to do." And they go, "Do you know what? I know what we're going to do. I'm going to give you even stronger painkillers, and what I want you to do is I want you to go into this wheelchair." And what happens is they put them in a wheelchair and they put the leg up and they say, "Don't put any weight on it at all. I don't want you even try and walk." And then when you go back, and you go back after 4 weeks and you try it again and you're like, and this goes on. Now, what you could imagine is that eventually what happens is this person ends up in traction. So in a hospital bed, lying with their leg up in the air that's slowly withering away because they've not exercised it, on stronger and stronger painkillers, with everybody sitting puzzling going, "I don't know why it's not getting any better." Now, this is our problem with medication for mental health. You see, actually all along there, it actually wasn't the plaster cast or the painkillers that were ever going to make a difference. They weren't a cure. They were doing nothing to be able to build the muscle back up, to strengthen the bone, to make sure the bone knits. All they were doing was holding things in place and taking a bit of the pain away. And this is exactly what antidepressants do. However, if I break my leg, let's hope that doesn't happen to me, you, or anybody that we know. If we break our leg, I'm adding you in here. It's not now if I break my leg, it's if we break our leg. I'm not breaking my leg on my own. If I'm going to break my leg, then you've got to break your leg too. That's just part of the deal. That's just the way it goes. But if either of us were to break our leg, then if we went to the hospital, then we'd look for painkillers. We want a plaster cast. But the bit that was missing out of my little story that we just went through was the physiotherapy. Was the bit where basically you go along to someone and you go, "My leg's feeling really sore," and some well-meaning, lovely person, normally with big muscles. You ever find that physios, it doesn't matter whether man, woman, or whatever, but they just always look really fit and healthy. That might just be the physios that I've met before. And what they do is they turn around to you and go, "I know it's sore. And what I want you to do is I want you to put your foot down and I want you to try and take a step." And you go, "But it's really sore." And they go, I know it's going to be sore, but let's try and take maybe 5 steps. Let's see how we go." And you take 5 steps and you're like sore and they're painful, but you do them and you feel great at the end of it. And you go, I took 5 steps. They're the first 5 steps I've taken in about 4 weeks. And they go, good, that means that your leg is getting stronger. And then you go back the next week and they go, right, want you to take 10 steps. And then you take 20 steps. And then you take 40 steps. And then you're walking for 5 minutes. Just, you're not great at it, but you're definitely walking around and you're getting better. And then by the time you go back to the doctor after 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is, they're going, you don't need those painkillers anymore. I'm going to take that cast off. I'm going to take that bandage off. I'm going to take that support bandage off, because actually you've managed to build your leg up enough that it's actually strong again. And then what do? You skip down the road going, my goodness, my leg is healed. And this is the bit that nobody does.